few bike companies that I've been watching grow over the years, and Troxus is one of them. Now these guys actually make a higher end mid-range bike. Most of your fat bikes are in the $1,300 to $1,700 range. Most of these guys' bikes are in the $2,000 to $2,500 range. And so with a higher mid-level bike, we should expect a longer range, more power, more torque, and a nicer ride. That's what we should expect, but is that what we get with the Troxus Lynx? The biggest motor that you can put on a bike and still call it a bike is a 750 watts. The difference with most companies is what motor they choose to go with. These guys chose to go with Bafang, which is a trusted brand, and I see a lot of Bafang motors on bikes, but I have one big issue with them, and that is they are just very loud. Now it's not just all bark, there is some bite.
1 is 9, 2 is 12, and that does match the bike screen. 3 is 15, 4 is 20, and 5 is 26. If I increase my cadence, there's 27. Really gotta increase it though to make any difference.
To hit 27 miles per hour, you just have to pedal so fast. Your little legs are just going like this, and it makes the bike unstable, and you just look like a fool doing it. So I'm gonna say a top speed of 26 miles per hour. I like these guys' advanced settings because there's no guesswork. You don't have to look up the P menu. It tells you exactly what you're adjusting, and the only thing you can adjust is the speed from 0 to 99. Here's how fast the bike goes when set to 50%.
Oh, that's still 26.
Well, at 50, there's no difference. Had the same top speed, so I set it to 15.
All right, there's a difference. Topping out at 14 miles an hour, 13, 14.
An easier way to go slower is, of course, by adjusting the pedal assist levels or just using the throttle.
And that's 20 per throttle.
The throttle isn't affected when you adjust the speed like I just showed you, or when you change the pedal assist levels. It always tops out at 20 miles per hour.
And if you are going over 20 miles an hour, you're pedaling and you hit the throttle, it actually cuts power until it lowers down to 20.
If you guys are like me, you're looking at a step through bike and you don't really expect a lot as far as acceleration. It just doesn't put off a tear off the line type of a vibe, but looks are deceiving.
Pedal assist 5, first gear, here we go. There's, whoa, a quarter of a revolution, and that power comes on. And it comes on fast. Wow, there's 16, 18, that's gotta be 20.
That is actually very fast for pedal assist. Here's straight throttle.
Oh, pretty slow off the line, but gaining in power. Definitely not as fast as pedal assist. There's 17. Yeah, motor's kind of peaking out at 19, 20.
Now let me show you the reaction time between pedal assist and straight throttle.
On pedal assist level 5, going 25 miles an hour. If I stop pedaling, about a half a second before the power cuts off. If I begin pedaling, about 1 1/4 before the power comes on. And you can feel and hear when that comes on. That motor is not quiet. And then with the throttle, you have about an inch of play before the power comes on. One of the more sporty throttles for a fat bike, for a heavy fat bike. If I'm hitting any bumps in the road, you can hear that power, kick on, kick off. Kind of gives you that pulsating motion. But averaging 19 miles an hour, if I release it, cuts right off. If I re-engage, about a quarter, half a second before it comes back on.
So that's average for a bike in this class. I typically see about a second delay. For a bike that's over $2,000, a 15% grade and a 190-pound rider shouldn't be a big deal.
All right, so as soon as I turn right, it begins to climb. So I'm gonna start with some momentum. This is a 15% grade, 2-block long hill. Got a full charge on the bike. Pedal assist level 5. That motor's letting me know that it's climbing. Bike's doing like 90%, pretty much all the effort actually. I'm just keeping the pedals turning. There's 9 and over the top.
For a motor that produces 80 Newton meters of torque, that's what I would expect for a 15% grade hill. One thing that I was surprised to see on this is mechanical disc brakes. So they did skimp in that area, but you still have pretty decent stopping power.
The left side controls the front, the right side the rear. You do have motor cutoffs, so I'll just begin to pedal. You can hear that motor come on, hit the brakes, still pedaling, cuts the motor, release, motor comes on pretty quick. And then for light braking, no pulsating, nice and smooth, no squeaking, grinding. And then for some hard braking, here we go. That back wheel skid about 20 feet, but very controlled, smooth, and powerful. Got no problems with the brakes.
Troxus is given a wide spread in the range, anywhere from 30 up to 62 miles. Now that's all going to depend on how fast you go. For this test, I averaged 24 miles per hour. And usually when I do that for a bike in this class, I'm hitting around 20 to 25 miles. Well, that wraps up the range test. My app recorded over 26 miles, which is above what I typically get. And it's actually a really good range for going how fast I went. But here's the kicker. I also got over 2,700 feet of elevation gain. I was exploring through the foothills of where I live and just tackled a ton of hills. So 26 miles with over 2,700 feet elevation gain is awesome. Well, first off, guys, this comes in 3 colors, black, gray, and red. Got a nice large and pretty durable feeling rack. Got some wood paneling up top, which just looks nice. They designed this to carry a lot of weight. You have over a 350-pound capacity. You got some really nice feeling fenders. They're aluminum, they're lightweight. Then you got a 48-volt, 20-amp-hour battery, and you can charge this on the go or in the bike, which takes 5 hours. You got a lot of wiring up here in front of the handlebars, but it is all wrapped, so it looks fairly clean. I'm actually okay with how they wired this. One of the coolest things about this is the rider size. It has a 5'1" up to 6'3" range. Look how low the saddle goes. Putting the pedal all the way to the top, it's pretty cozy at that point. There's a mark on the seat post that tells you how far up to put it. So this is all the way up, and that's the right size for me. I think if you were a little bit taller than me, you would have to hunch over a little bit. Overall, you have a very nice posture. Another nice thing about this bike is that they're low and they're long, and so all of the weight is lower to the ground, which does give you very good balance. Very easy to ride without any hands. If I stop pedaling, power cuts off nice. If I re-engage, comes on nice and smooth. Beautiful balance. Well, you got BMX style handlebars, and they are 24.5 inches long. I call this rocking the boat handling, where when you turn, when you lean, there's a little delay before the bike responds. But this one, like every other fat bike out there, when you turn, it pulls you upright. Next up, you have ergonomic comfort grips, and then underneath you have a Shimano 7-speed shifter, and that is matched with an Altus derailleur. Going down, I can go from 7 to 1 in 3 pushes. Back up to 7, 1 at a time, rapid fire. That is my favorite shifter for these fat bikes. Moving back, you have a Troxus saddle. I like the size of it. I mean, that is a commuter style type of a saddle, but it is a little bit hard. But underneath, you have some suspension and a carrying handle. Moving down, you have Kenda 20x4-inch all-terrain fat tires. And then in the front, you got some front fork suspension. You can't lock that out, but it's actually pretty stiff. Not a fan of the suspension. This trail's got these smaller bumps, and you know, I find myself kind of standing up a little bit. If you're gonna take this off-road, I definitely just be choosy on the type of trail and go slow. Moving on to the LCD screen and control pad. Power button on the left, very bright display. Plus and minus to change the pedal assist levels. In the middle is an I button. If you hit that, it changes the different readouts. Then if you hold that button down, you can get into the advanced settings. This is the speed, units, auto off, and the screen brightness. And then on the right is the headlight. So pretty bright headlights. And then a tail light that's built into the rear rack. If you hit the brake lever, that does flash. Overall, my favorite features are the massive monstrous frame. I didn't even talk about that in the review, but this thing is just ginormous. Typically, Step Thru bikes aren't that cool looking, but I actually like the look and design of this. I'm also in love with the range. At 24 mile per hour average speed, and I got over 26 miles with over 2,700 feet elevation gain. That's fantastic. If you're looking for a bike to tackle some hills and go the distance, I think this is gonna be a good option for you. So there you have it. That wraps up the review. I appreciate you guys hopping on here and checking out my content, and have a good day.